Hello, welcome to the LGBTQ plus Pride of Google Hangouts. Today we are presenting the homosexual agenda. And here with me
But
today, and here with me today I have Bunto,
hello, everybody. Hope you're all
Hitler.
doing well. Thank you for inviting me, Lindsay.
No
June
problem.
is Gay Month, and we're representing. A couple of weeks
Represent.
in, but we had to. All right. I put up the promo, and people were asking, "What's the homosexual agenda?"
From my understanding, what the homosexual agenda is basically equality
Okay.
and acceptance.
Right. I'll say it like this: like, no person who is a same-sexer wants to be picked on. Because the first thing that I know that the Christians are going to say, I won't say, they're going to say theists, I'll say, is like, I knew all the homosexuals have this agenda. And it's like, well, the only agenda is not to be picked on, right? Not to be bigotry or any sort of prejudice against us.
Yeah. Um, Lots of people think that homosexuality is a choice. And in my opinion, it's not a choice to be a homosexual, it's a
Right.
choice to act upon your desires.
I always say, the way I do is like, yeah, I have a choice is that I can deny my homosexuality. That's about it, right?
Yeah.
That's the only choice I have.
Well, people are like, well, why do you have to come out and say you're a homosexual? It's because homos- heterosexuality is the norm. So, like, my mom asked me, well, Lindsay, why haven't you ever brought your boyfriend over to the house? And I'm like,
Right.
and that's when I was like a teenager and I was not really out to my
Right.
mom. But why do we have to have the assumption that I would be dating a male? Now, everyone knows that I'm only part gay.
Sure.
But I now identify as pansexual because I am attracted to not just men and women, but transsexual and intersex people as well.
Sure.
The easiest way to say is just I'm queer and I'm here and I'm ready
Right.
to kick some
Okay.
butt.
I love it. All right. Okay. Gay people, well, LGBT, I have to say that for this hangout because we are representing trans too. Everybody queer, the plus. Also probably asexual too if they want to jump on, right? They don't want to be any sort of bigotry. And that, it's just when I've had my interviews with Christians, they think it means like special parking places. They think it means like special rights. But it doesn't even mean it. It means just that we're afforded equal rights, like same-sex marriage. We're not discriminated against when you go to a business, right? Like, could I have a sign made for my LGBT party and not be like throwing it on your ear or refuse service, something like that? So I would say, once again, just to reiterate, the homosexual agenda is, in my mind, just not equal rights, you know, in a society.
Well, you and I live in two different backgrounds. I live in Canada where gay
Right.
marriage is legal here. It's completely nationally wide legal. That happened in the mid early 2000s.
Right.
Like,
10
I
years
remember
ago.
being in high school, yeah, roughly 10 years ago. And it hasn't affected anything. People aren't taking, like, if they were taking advantage of the government, that's the only thing the government had opposed to it was not the Christian values that Canada has, because we're a diverse country. We stand on our diversity. And part of diversity is not just religion, but
Right.
sexuality as well. Um, in the Human Rights Charter, sexuality and sexual identification and relations was added in 1994. So
Okay.
when you are speaking against a homosexual and you yell out, "Hey, you fag, go back to Spain," or
Or
whatever,
whatever. That'd be the kindest approach. Usually they want to burn you at the stake or hang you,
yeah,
like in the Middle East. Now, okay, when we aim like equal rights at, who are we aiming that at? I mean, you're in Canada, you have the legal basis. Soon we'll have it here in America. You know, our Supreme Court is supposedly going to decide on gay marriage, right? But we're sort of aiming that at the religious types that have great objections to same-sex and homosexuality
Well, let
because
me
of the
talk
religion.
to religion. Not all religion is against homosexuality. The pagans,
Right,
they practice marriage between men and women, and men and women, and so did the Native Americans,
okay,
because often medicine women and shamans were considered to be two-spirited,
right,
and two-spirited is not. Lots of people think if you're two-spirited means that, oh, you're transsexual. Well, actually, two-spirited meant that you had the spirit of a man and a woman inside of you.
right.
So lots of people that were homosexuals became shamans because of that, or medicine men and women.
Interesting. Hamane, I believe. All right, so we are always, let's say, you know, we're tolerant. I know in our fact that, you know, LGBT is liberally based, right? And we always extend the peace branch to, you know, theists to like accept us.
Yes. Um, I would say the most people that hate us are Christians and Muslims. I was
Fundamentalists.
talking to what?
Fundamentalists.
Yeah, fundamentalists. There are
Right.
gay Muslims and there are gay Christians, though lots of people like to disagree on that, but there are. And I was talking to Ruben, and Ruben said, though homosexuality isn't allowed as a whole in Abrahamic religions, in Judaism, it's actually not kosher to be homophobic.
Interesting.
You can't be homophobic, apparently. And I question this because Muslims are really homophobic.
Right.
Well, besides the ones that are moderate.
Right.
And I asked Gabriel if that was true or Gabriel. I always
Okay.
told Gabriel if that was true, and he confirmed. So I got it from straight from a practicing Jew's mouth.
Excellent. And also, you know, just to dovetail, it's sort of like with this hangout, we're just like reaching out to everybody in the community to come in, you know, and celebrate the month, you know, celebrate the
Yeah,
Pride hangout.
everyone is welcome as long
Yes.
as you are open-minded and you aren't here to spread hate. You're well to have your own opinion on the
Fine.
matter. That's fine. But if I find that you're being hateful in your speech, I will have you removed from the thing.
Fine. If you're,
Everyone knows how I work in my hangouts, and I
right.
am a bitch.
Okay. If you're on a mission to destroy, then, you know, maybe you should go elsewhere.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's gay happy time.
It's gay happy time, gay happy
Happy
month. All righty.
gay
Well, all right,
time.
honey. Go ahead and dump it in the public feed, and, you know, we can open it up now, friends.
Okay. Let's open it up.
If you want, honey, put it in the side chat, and then I'll paste it in my feeds. All right. Hold on a second here. What's that?
Oh, it's my cell phone. You know, I'm so popular.
All right. All right. Let me see. I'm inviting all the trans women I know.
Oh yeah, I guess I should invite people.
Right.
Right. Well, I'll invite St. Tommy. He's nice and open-minded. Maybe I won't. I'll let him come in on his own.
All right. So, Jess, could you do a quick explanation for our audience of LGBT each letter?
L stands for lesbian.
Right.
G stands for gay. B stands for bisexual. T stands for trans. Q stands for queer.
Queer.
And the plus includes everyone else. So two-spirited, intersex, asexual, allied. I'm trying to remember all the gay people I have on my list. Hello, Nasser.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
So, Nasser, in this hangout here is the LGBTQ plus Pride of Google presents the homosexual agenda. Now, do you have anything that you want to discuss onto that? Are you pro-gay? Are you anti-gay? June is the homosexual month for Pride.
Right.
There's Pride parades everywhere.
In the Western countries, I think.
For sure in the Western countries, but in Israel they have Pride. Welcome,
Faith.
Faith and Grace.
Okay. Well, social activities. Like, I took a look at this thing called Meetup. Have you heard of that, Lindsay? It's called. Okay, so I looked at their social activities, and I have to say that in the north part of Austin, you know, in the sticks, the suburbs, it's like lesbian representation. There's like hardly any gay man activities. It's interesting. So I think it's like they're more organized than the gay men.
It is. That's why if you look at it, when you look up LGBT, it used to be GLBT.
Right.
But they changed it to LGBT is because lesbians are more accepted in society. And I find that ridiculous that we're more accepted in society than a homosexual man is, because we're all the same.
Yeah, I mean, thinking at the top, but I was just thinking that maybe they, since they're more organized, they managed to, you know, why don't we call it LGBT instead of GLBT? I don't know. That just crossed my mind. Anyway, they have all sorts of stuff like, you know, book readings and like cafe stuff, walks, and we don't have anything. The only thing that we have was like, I think there was like this self-defense for gays. And then I sent them a letter, and of course a woman was running it, right? So it's like, where are the guys? Why don't they do anything, right?
I don't know. Maybe it's just because women are more organized.
Yeah, I think it is.
We're the best. I'm kidding.
Anyway, I was just kind of hoping. I mean, I run into some dudes who wanted to, like, you know, go hiking, do any sort of activities, you know, because I'm really active now. I want to like go kayaking and
Well, why don't you make a meetup group?
I wanted to, honey, but I didn't know they charge. They charge like $9 or $15 a month to do that.
Oh, really? Then
Yeah.
you can go on whatever you don't have Kijiji in America, but Craigslist or something like that, and make a group and say
Right.
groups. Just say like put a little synopsis on who you are, and saying that you're not like looking to hook up.
Yeah, that's
Because
the first thing they put in the meetup.
people
We're
that
not a
make
hookup.
groups like that and go to those groups, they're just like Oh, I'm ready to hook up. I'm gonna have sex with as many homos that I can.
Well, they think it's like Grinder or something. Just to tell our audience, yeah, there are these dating sites like Grinder and Adult Friend Finder and
Pink Wink. I'm on Pink Wink.
Pink Wink. The thing is, these are just, what would you call, like activity sites, like social Toastmasters, right? Mensa meeting type stuff.
Yeah. OkCupid's nice to have because it opens it up to the bisexual people because it can put the interested in men and women.
Mm-hmm.
POF is good because you can search for same-sex couples. Hey, Lyrics. Welcome to LGBT Pride of Google Presents the Homosexual Agenda. I know that you typically don't hate on the homosexuals, so welcome to the thing. You're welcome to talk about what you think the homosexual agenda is. We think that it's about acceptance and equality.
Hope you're doing well.
Yeah. Silly
Hello.
face.
Hey, Lyrics.
Anyway. There's an agenda where you guys want to make me gay or something?
Well, okay, that's what the Christian would come forward saying, oh, that's what the homosexual agenda is, to totally same-sex society, right?
So you can't make me gay. Right?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Lyrics.
You can't make me gay. I can't make you straight.
If the price was right, that's right. You can't make me straight. That's definitely, and I'm pretty sure I can't make you gay. But I mean, the homosexual agenda, at least it sounds organized. You can give it that much.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead, Lyrics.
Oh, he's taking care of his kid. All right, anyway, we were talking about these dating services, right? Okay, let's say that you're a same-sexer and you want to hook up. Just to tell our audience that there's like degrees in dating sites that you can go to. You can go to a definite sex place, right? Sex meetings, or you can go to like places like Meetup, or I guess even Craigslist. Craigslist is a span, it depends on what you want to do with it. They have this interesting thing on Craigslist called if I missed you or something. You know what I'm talking about? Missed
misconnections.
Yeah, misconnections, where like if you supposedly went to HEB or some grocery store and saw somebody, you could throw up a message on there and perhaps it's like a message in a bottle. They'll see it and respond. I didn't know about that until about like a year ago.
Well, there's extreme websites that the Craigslist. I go on Craigslist to hook up. That's what I do. But if I'm looking for a relationship, I go on POF or OkCupid.
Okay.
Or Pink Wink. Though Pink Wink, you have to pay for it.
Right. And then like, I guess what you're looking for, I don't know if you guys ever peruse the dating sites, is that, they're really like, what do you call it, multiple choice. Some places are like, press here if you're a Christian and atheist or whatever. And those things I just sort of think are so corny. I don't know why, but they're very popular, right? Because I guess that's just the way people are. Just press a button, for who you are. Punch card dating. But I do prefer if you spend the time, at least write up a little bio of yourself. Be a little renegade that way.
Yeah, don't be lazy and just say, ask me about me, send me a message. Actually, write a bio.
Christian Rich.
There are specific sites, just like homosexual sites, like ChristianMingle.com or Muslims for Marriage or Muslima or Half Our Deen. I know a lot of the marriage websites because I was one of both. I was a Christian and a Muslim at a time.
Wow.
You me in the pool that they have for me on religion on Google+.
All right. Okay, well, let's think of other things activities, right? Now, unless you're like in a progressive town, I think if like you're in a rural, it's going to be hard to like have any sort of like, what would you say, LGBT activities on the whole.
Yeah, it is, because when you go to rural societies, the sticks, as lots of people like to call it. I live in a rural society. I live in Red Deer, Alberta. We just hit 100,000 people.
Right.
Though for the past 3 years, we have had Pride Days, like a Pride weekend. Cool, Faith. You're in Lethbridge? You know all about rurality then. Holy shit, 2 Albertans in the room, let alone 2 Canadians.
No, you're the first one ever. Like, I'm calling you out right now, but like, yeah, that's awesome, Lindsay. Holy crap! Like, we're not even an hour and a half. Like, we're not really that far apart. Buntu, like Lindsay and I are like less than 4 hours apart.
Wow.
Yeah, if you're ever down in Lethbridge, Lindsay, let me know. I'd love like I like to stay. Sometimes I like just to rent hotels for no reason, and like if you're ever coming down or you have to come down this way for something. Like just to check out Lethbridge gay community, or if you want to come down for, like Medicine Hat has a jazz fest. Lethbridge has probably something going on. But if you're ever down, let me know, because you'd always be welcome with me, man, for sure.
Sweet, thanks, Faith to Grace. I will come down to Lethbridge then. I haven't been there in about 10, 15 years. I came down I was in the reenactment down at the fort in Lethbridge. And it was the year that it really hailed down, and all the horses were freaking out and everything. It was fun. Oh, welcome back, Lyrics.
All right. Well, let's say this for anybody.
Sorry, Buntu, I'm going to cut you off. Because it doesn't matter. That's the first person in like since 2006 that I've met within like 500 kilometers of me. Really, it's the first time, Lindsay. So I'm really excited. So it'd be cool. Like I don't like. Is it okay if I try to link to you? Like, do you have a Google Plus page or something where?
Yeah.
Like, is there something?
I'll add you to my circle.
Follow you. Like, not to bug your room, Buntu, but it's easier if I ask her directly than going through her friends and trying to find her. So yeah, I'm really excited, Lindsay. Awesome. I've been I've been in Red Deer once at the Greyhound station. I sat there and I hated it. Like,
yeah, our Greyhound station
forever waiting to go to Edmonton. Yeah, it's like fucking so boring. I was like, oh, so if I ever want to go to Edmonton again, like let's say I want to go to Edmonton to like I like the Drop of Doom. I like the West Edmonton like you know the mall. I like a few things there. So if I ever stop in Red Deer, I'd love to buy a pizza or lunch or something, and then maybe you could meet me while I'm waiting for my bus. That'd be super cool.
Yeah, I'll bring all the lesbians down to meet you. We'll go lesbian from. I don't know if you're a lesbian or homosexual.
I don't know what I'd call myself. I guess I would call myself an alien. I don't even really call myself anything. I guess I'm just weird. So yeah, I have sex with individuals, so I don't really claim myself as anything.
Right.
But you can call me whatever you want. That's
okay. Cool. I'll just call you
sapiosexual. Lover, right. Okay, well I was gonna say, just for like people that are in the Sticks area, you can use, you know, hopefully they're listening now, G+, you know, at least this is one medium that's afforded to them, you know, for hooking up, meeting people. Benny, hey, welcome. How you doing, Benny? Like, yeah, I always told Lindsay that I wish more LGBT comes to our hangout.
Well, speaking of, Benny walks in.
Benny. Okay,
Benny never falls. He just out away.
Right, when Lyrics said rage, I remember to invite Patrick. Oh, yeah.
Rage, Patrick.
Right. I'm going to invite somebody else.
Nasser, are you trying to speak? Because I just hear like streaming of Quran in your background. Or wait,
I don't know who it is.
I don't know.
Anyway,
love that picture.
Yeah, that's a good one. Benny the artist. All right. Okay, let's think of what other things that if you're in the Sticks, you could do to like hook up with the LGBT community. G+. I guess Canada has like some sort of outreach, right? Hey, all right. Representing. Hi, Sugar.
Hey.
Hi, Sugar. I haven't really met you officially. I'm Lindsay.
Oh, Lindsay, this is my friend Sugar.
Oh, hey, Lindsay. Lindsay, Sugar's awesome. I'm just
She has
me.
a flag. She must be awesome.
Yeah. I've got a flag.
Right. Okay. Well, Sugar, we've always talked about how you were brought up accepting same-sex and LGBT. Could you just extrapolate on that for a little bit for our audience sake?
Well, I had a really interesting experience. I'm 50 years old, so that tells you, when I was coming up, and both my parents were really, they were just really good people, and in that respect. And they started marching in gay pride parades when they first started coming out. My dad was a big mucky muck with AT&T, and for years he did have to kind of march with his, like this to make sure that there were no cameras.
Oh.
Of course, he didn't want to lose his job, and at the time it wasn't
Yeah.
as fashionable, or as
Oh.
accepted, whatever it was your description is. And so I was just kind of brought up that way, and I had to learn that this wasn't acceptable by others. We didn't even talk about it in my family, that this wasn't okay. And so it's just always been my experience. I brought my children up that way as well. My son, my daughter, who both ended up being heterosexual. I still say it was the worst thing in the world that, I'm my mom's only child, and she's still disappointed that I'm straight, which is kind of an odd position to have, because she's such a huge supporter. And so now we've just had my granddaughter born, and next year she'll go. She's too young to go right now because it's only a couple months, but she'll be going to everyone as well. And my children have adopted the same philosophy, although my son would be probably more of your typical dude. I remember we were at the Pride. He was about 13, maybe 12 or 13, and the guys that real sweet-looking guys with the leather on and the no shirt.
Muscle marriage.
Oh yeah, just beautiful. And they were throwing condoms out, and Brian caught one of them, and he looked at me.
What's this, Mom?
He goes, Mom, I don't know what to do with this, because he had this look on his face. I said, look, the only thing you have to do is know that you're here to support these people and their right to love who they want, when they want, and to live in a free society just like everybody else. That's it. I said, I don't even care if you like it or not, but that you treat these people with the same respect you would treat anybody else, and that you defend their right. And that's basically
excellent.
Our whole family. And we feel strongly that, get to raise healthy kids, to be good adults. And people are so interested in raising perfect kids. The hell with that. Raise some kids to grow up and be respectful, so they're good adults. So none of us have to, suffer the stuff that we've had to go through.
Well,
So
okay, you struck a nerve when you said something. Okay, let's talk about growing up. When I went to high school, there were no gay unions. There were no gay groups at all. If they caught you doing any sort of same-sex behavior, or they even knew, they'd get you within life or limb, seriously mess you up. And this is not only for males, but both females and males, if they caught you doing any sort of same-sex activity. Holding hands, having a boyfriend,
Well, I guess it all comes down to how accepting, because holding hands is practiced in other cultures, not between lovers, but between family members and friends. So there's that spectrum as well. But when I was growing up in high school, it was okay to be gay, but you still got ridiculed by students for being a homosexual if you were kissing your girlfriend in the hall or something like that.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's say what I'm trying to just impress upon our audience is that things got better. I think things now are just wonderful, even though there is a lot of bullying. But in a way, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's sort of like, God, if these people that cave in under this sort of bullying, if they could only imagine what I came under, when I grew up. But that's just me. People say, that was then, this is now. But I'm just very happy that we're progressed out of that age, dark ages that I came from.
Well, young people like me, we are the people of tomorrow.
Right.
And the younger generation, people in high school and stuff like that, they're the people of tomorrow too. Because in 20, 30 years, you guys will be senior citizens, and
Right.
I'll be your age.
Right, we'll be senior citizens in about 20 to 30 years. But the thing is, I'll be glad that society will be, much more progressive. By then, I'm sure they'll look back at, like we look back at civil rights in the 60s, they'll look back at marriage equality in the same eyes.
Yeah, and the homosexual agenda that people are going for is not to convert everyone to homosexuality, like lots of people like to think. It's about equality and rights and acceptance. Where it's the same thing as Martin Luther King when he marched and did his speeches. That too, he wanted the same thing, the black agenda, so they called it.
They used to call it the Negro. They used an old word, the Negro.
Yeah, that or colored. I always tell people when they talk about gay people hitting up on them, I go, don't flatter yourself. They don't all want you.
I was thinking, oh shoot, it just escaped me. But yes, you're right, Lindsay. It's looking back at a forward march of equal rights. God, I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway.
Bunto, you're so handsome tonight. I love seeing you. You're just so gorgeous.
Important hangout, so I didn't spare anything.
Golly.
Thank you. Oh, well, Lyrics, what do you think? I mean, you think we've progressed from when you came up from high school?
I grew up in Massachusetts, so it was more
pretty progressive,
I guess.
Yeah.
My aunt was married. She was gay. That was in my 20s. I don't know. I've been more worried about my sexual activity more than yours. So I don't really care if you're gay or not. I'm worried about you getting laid, not about who you're fucking.
But it was interesting. It's like I grew up in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and I wouldn't. But I mean, it's like even worse than the Bible Belt. Like the Bible Belt, they would have hit me over the head with the Bible for being gay, right? But where I grew up, they just hated gays. You know what I mean? It was just, it was a poor town, and it had a lot of anger in that town. I don't know if anybody's had that same experience, but I mean, anything that was just a target, they'd go after. And so it was,
I think in high school or like that age group, it's normal to experience any sort of fear from not belonging to the group, regardless of what your preference is, even if it has to do with sexuality, just anything in general. It's so hard to fit in at that particular time period that I think that a lot of people just get kind of butthurt about it over their life. Like there's certain things that I do that I wasn't accepted in, and I haven't gotten over it, And in our society, it's normal when there's a bunch of guys together for them to like pick on the gay guy because he's viewed as like weaker. You know what I mean? And it's real hard to get that out of the classroom. That's where it's really important. It's not necessarily like me or you, but it's like that kind of atmosphere. That's where it starts from, like where the social kind of, where you figure out where you belong and where you fit in and stuff like that. We have to erase that stigma from that kind of,
Truly. Well, I just want to clarify for everybody listening. It's not like we didn't have sissies in my high school, because we did have sissy guys, right? The only thing was if they ever caught you, in sort of any sort of same-sex relationships, it was
you had, I think, had a different experience as well because of where you lived, and I lived just outside of San Francisco. So I think we got a little bit of a break, but we just didn't acknowledge it.
But I wonder. I would be so surprised if I didn't go back to that. I never wanted to go back to that town, Cruces, again. But if I went back to my old Las Cruces High School, and if they didn't have like some sort of gay club, I'd be like, we're going to start one tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
as you should.
Well, I'm sure they have one by now. I'm sure all high schools probably have some sort of gay student outreach. They should.
What high school was it?
I went to Las Cruces High School. The Bulldogs.
I'll check.
Anyway, if you're coming from like a rural town, just know that you can always come up here to G+, hopefully G+. I don't know about Facebook, just to have an outreach, other people that are LGBT. I think it's important.
I think Facebook has a good community as well.
Yeah, you can go on Facebook and search up all types of gay groups. They're not discriminatory against any kind of group. They even have 8 gay groups.
But what's kind of interesting about the great debate community, and I just bring it up here just for sake of conversation, but how many gays are there in this? I only think there's like me, who's open, vocal, right? Me, Kazoom, I have my handful of friends. I really, just in our own great debate community, we really don't have a large LGBT presence. Surprising, but maybe that's just the dynamics of like religion meeting homosexuality, that there's still closeted here.
What are I heard there's some, see, I'm still trying to get used to the LGBT, and so, because, that's new for me. So I'm wondering, there's supposed to be, I guess, some more letters at the end, and I've just learned about gender queer, gender fluid, and all this. Can someone educate me? Because I'm out of.
And that someone is our Lindsay. Drum roll. Thing.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, where it started off as GLBT, and then Q was added in years later. The whole thing is like GLBTQ, T, A, I, A.
Yes, there are too many sexualities, if you ask me.
So what is the?
Actually, think about changing it to alphabet soup. That's in the discussion groups a lot.
I got one. It's called HUMAN. I don't know. See
right, human.
All right.
Well, here's one thing I would bring up to the panel. Okay, I've been watching some of Kazoom's video where he's like struggling with gender and sex. In your guys' mind, what's the difference between gender and sex, if any?
Well, gender is more about identity, isn't it?
Okay. Sure.
And sex is about
going to a doctor and being called a male or a female.
Yeah, but sometimes doctors are stupid like that. Because I had really short hair when I was growing up, because I was like a bull dyke. But
well, the thing, a doctor can run your chromosomes and find out if you have XY or XX, right?
Yeah, and this is why they don't do the sex change surgeries on the children with ambiguous genitalia anymore for intersex.
Okay, intersex, right? So anyway, guys, it seems to me Kazoom has a beef against gender identity. Do you guys have anything like that? I'm for one, if you believe that you're such a gender, I will give you the respect to call you that gender, right? If you're trans, I have no problem with that.
You're gender fluid. You can be gender fluid and not be trans.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, I could see that. Okay, why don't you extrapolate a bit about gender fluid? Could you?
Well, gender fluid is, to my understanding, it's just, some people like to be called the third gender.
Okay, I've heard that.
Like my friend Tanya, she's transsexual, and she's not going to have a vagina though. She identifies as a third gender, so she's gender fluid. She's going to get breast implants. Right now she just uses tissue because she can't afford it.
Okay.
And I said, water bra, honey, water bra.
She's pragmatic.
Yeah. And
gender fluid just means that you have the fluidity to assume what gender you would like to be, how you identify with.
Yeah, but now with cosmetic surgery and plastic surgery, you can be whatever gender you want to be, besides not changing your genetics.
Okay.
I thought there was an issue that one was like how you looked at what you were attracted to, kind of in the head. Like I love males or females, right? So if I could be me, right? I am one sex. I'm anatomically a female, right?
Fine. Yeah.
But I feel like I love women, right?
Right.
And I don't want to be a female anymore. So all three of those can exist at one time. I'm
right.
physically a female, I love other females, and I don't want to be a female anymore.
Gender has nothing to do with sexual identity, sexual preference.
There's those, well, I don't know that it's a preference. The proponents of this say that is how we are hardwired. That, if you look at somebody and say, if I'm a woman or born a woman and I like women, then I'm theoretically a lesbian, right? But if I
Yes.
also struggle with the fact that I do not feel like I should be in a female body, then I need a gender reassignment, and then I'm technically straight, correct?
You know, and I don't necessarily even go for, like, I'm really liberal with my pre-op, you know, bottom surgery.
Mhm.
I mean, if you want to identify yourself as the other gender, even regardless of the surgery, I'll still call you the gender you prefer.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean,
All right.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is, like, these Kazoo videos, he has a problem with that, apparently. He wants,
And what's
he
his
doesn't,
position?
he says, well, you can call yourself a cat, but you're really not a cat. And the thing is, like, well, yes, you may say something, but, cats don't have any practical application in our society. I mean, people aren't trying to marry cats. You know what I
Why
mean?
is the
People
cat calling
aren't-
himself a cat, you know?
Yeah, well, he's trying to bring up, like, I guess, like a fundamentalist canard that the Christian fundamentalists bring. You have
Not just
two
Christians
guys, 3
who are
women, and a
in
mule.
homosexuality, or like within the gay community, it's only the past 20 years, not even 20 years, I would say 10 years, that they were accepting to transsexual people. When someone came out as transsexual, the gay community also rejected them too. So they had to
Interesting. I
make
didn't know
their own
that.
community, and then they were eventually integrated into LGBT.
I've had those discussions where, T wants to break off and there's no use for T. What do you call it? It's like squabbling inside, so.
It's like
I've heard
Canada
that
and
argument
Quebec,
too.
I think. It's like Quebec doesn't want to be part of Canada anymore, but they know without Canada they won't survive.
Yeah. Yeah,
And that's another.
For T, trans people, why would you want to break off from the LGBT when you're stronger in numbers than you are by
Right,
yourself?
exactly.
Did they want to break away, or did the LGBT?
Well, no, there's squabbling. You'll hear squabbling about positions. Okay, like one of the things that a Christian misunderstanding is they think like a gay man eventually wants to become a woman. They think like
in Iran.
Nadia, they think Nadia is gay, right, or something like that. To bring up Nadia as an example, and it's like that's just not a cogent thought. It's like there's gay men who want to remain men, of course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not.
I never heard what sexuality, like, I know that Nadia wants to be, well, Nadia is a woman.
Right.
And she's going through.
Yeah, she's in the process. She's transitioning.
Stuff like that. She's transitioning. But I've never had a discussion with her what the gender she's attracted to.
Oh, no, she likes men.
She likes men.
Oh, yeah, so she's straight.
Well, yeah, we talk about the what did she call him last night? Oh, like the beefcake parade, and she wants them all heading for her door. I'm like, here. Yeah, she definitely likes men, and I think one of the biggest issues is people are afraid of their own sexuality because we are so sexually repressed, and that is true throughout the world. I thought it was something that mostly we dealt with as Americans because we were basically founded by Puritans. Well, I know that they've been more accepted in other areas of the world.
The pillar of religion is sexual oppression.
Right. That is exactly it. And, also growing up in this really liberal family, we also are third-generation atheists, but we didn't call each other atheists. We didn't call each other anything because we didn't talk about it. We didn't talk about good about it or bad about it. Same with racism. It was what it was. And it was about being a human animal. And so I think that as long as we continue that, as long as people know that, or as long as people think that what they're doing is sinful, even in a heterosexual way, that anything that they think, but I mean, how else would you think if there's this person up in the sky that watches everything you do? You can't even take a shit without somebody judging you.
I will not walk halfway into their madness. It's all malarkey in my head.
No. But you know what? The more I listen to those on our side, the stronger I get.
Right. If you just read the Bible, the stronger you get it as an atheist position.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Yeah.
I wanted to add to your part. You said, okay, genderqueer. Interesting. Genderqueer more is a political position. Have you guys sort of noticed that? in just watching genderqueer videos. It's more of a social justice type position.
It seems,
in
yeah.
my mind, genderqueer. I always use genderqueer because it's more of like it's more tolerant, more inclusive in my mind. You know, more of my own thinking of what I want to go towards.
Let me tell you what I used to tell my grandfather when he would tell me not to tell people I was Mexican, because he was ashamed of it. And I lived in San Jose where there was mostly Hispanics. I said, Grandpa, because he'd say, tell people you are Colombian, right?
Right.
And, right. And I'd say, Grandpa, bigots don't know the difference between a Colombian and a Mexican. We're all spics to them.
Truly.
So, you know, you got to make your stand. So it's just like, you know, it doesn't really matter what we call ourselves, because who are intolerant will find a way to make you feel less than, and that's just not okay.
Right. Okay. Okay. So we talk genderqueer. Okay. Asexual, right? We do. I know of a few people who are asexual in our community, and what they are just people that have, how would you say, just no need for sexual relationships.
Yeah, I watched a documentary on asexuals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought I interrupted somebody, and I found it really interesting because, of course, you know, it's really easy to start going in the gay community to say, "Oh my gosh, there's not another group coming up," but if it seemed at the end of this documentary, you went from these people feeling like, hey, you know what, we love the company of other people from the opposite sex, and we do want to have relationships, and we want that intimacy that is without the sex. And of course, everything was suggested from Asperger's spectrum to, you know, psycho issues and stuff like that. It seemed that a lot of them, it was almost a phase, and a lot of them, when they found their mate, because maybe they were quirky or whatever, and they just were having a hard time finding a mate, and not as sexually, they weren't as horny as the next guy, so they thought that maybe they weren't interested.
The thing is that
some of them, go ahead.
The expansion of LGBT to, you know, the other letters. Thing is, I don't know of any state that's going to deny you a marriage because you're an asexual. You know,
is this a problem?
Well, yes. Well, I mean, just talking about what is like, not too many cooks spoil the brew, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that, you know, equal rights for LGBT, I believe, in the forefront, and then we can politically we can talk about everything else, you know, Q plus A, I, later on. So, I mean, okay, well, Lindsay, what is queer in your mind? Is it a political position, or is it just a style or fashion, gender, what?
Is she there? I don't know if she heard you.
She's thinking about it, I think.
I'm looking it up too, just in case, to make sure
Yeah.
I have it right.
Queer actually means weird.
Yeah, queer means weird. I don't know what that
I
is.
identify as queer because I'm very eccentric. Like, I'm actually weirder than an eccentric person. I just say queer because that's why, like, a homosexual was referred to as a queer, is because it was weird. It was out of the norm.
Hey, Lindsay, how can you be homosexual and be a Muslim at the same time?
And be what?
And be a Muslim at the same time?
I'm not Muslim.
You're not?
No, but you can be Muslim and be a homosexual.
Hey,
You may not be a practicing Muslim.
John May, what happens to Muslims that are homosexual, John May?
I think that's the death penalty. I'm pretty sure it is.
Well, the problem is with Muslims is that they think that if you identify as a homosexual, that you're engaging in a homosexual activity, where you don't have to have sex to be a straight person. So
Right.
why do you have to have sex to be a gay person?
Yeah, I can tell you through my years of experience with this community, I know a lot more freakier straight people than I do in the LGBT. Most of the gay people that I know, they've been professionals in all walks of life, and they have been Yeah, well, not just affluence, but even blue collar workers. They weren't necessarily on the fringe of fringe, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And it seemed like all my straight friends were the swingers. They were the ones that were having to have all the bells and whistles just to have sex with somebody to stay interested. But and the children that were the products of the gay people that I know are some of the most stable children I have ever met and seen. Period.
Interesting.
And there's no questioning it. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's a personal experience. I mean, I wouldn't take it. If you said just
I couldn't have anything other than a personal experience. Could I?
I know, but your personal experience shouldn't cast a wide net for everything. Though, that's the point I'm making.
Who casted a wide net on that? I just gave my personal opinion.
Oh yeah, just one quickie that crossed my mind, just to interrupt. A great movie composer passed away in an airplane crash. Did you guys see that? James Horner crashed his plane. He was a real big wheel in Hollywood.
That was the guy that did Titanic, right?
Right.
Yeah, I read about that on Facebook.
That just crossed my mind. Just to interrupt.
I think we're a star-studded, obsessed nation, and I'm sorry, but I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing about this actor or this whatever. I mean, it's Hollywood. I mean, people need to live their lives and stop trying to live vicariously through Hollywood.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm having a similar experience with trolls. We live in a society where people like to troll other people and just, make them feel bad and impose their will on them. I just think it's really horrible. I'm personally sick of it.
I'm not sure where that came from.
I don't know. You have a problem with what I said?
It was kind of a non sequitur.
I'm sorry?
But it was kind of a non sequitur.
Oh, okay. If you could get me the memo of how we're supposed to behave in this as civilized adults, I'll be sure to read it.
Okay. Let's
Go ahead,
just all
Lindsay.
be nice to each other.
Okay, well, anyway, just to bring up Down's point about being obsessed with Hollywood. Okay, the Caitlyn Jenner thing. Okay, I get you. It's right that there could be, like, in Down's case, he's correct. There could be like a sort of choke. What would you say? Like a knee-jerk reaction to something like that, because it was like a media plan event. But I still say it has some importance, and I've seen its effects. I've seen both videos. I've seen heavily negative, and I've seen heavily positive videos. So I think it's good, at least for starting the conversation. Erica, I'll say this: neither here nor there if it was a money-making, always will be with the Kardashians, a money-making event or not. I still think it's good to start the conversation.
Does anybody not remember when he started plucking his eyebrows? This has been going on since the 80s.
I really haven't been watching. I'm not like a.
Just
like
look at the picture progression.
When I saw him, I think maybe during I wouldn't say OJ's, because I know those Kardashians were connected with that, but maybe a little later or something. I was like, wow, he's really going towards queer. You know what I mean?
I think it would be a big mistake to give the Kardashians any credit on this at all, because.
I'm not so naive.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe Chris finally got him to have the courage to come out, but he's been doing this long before. I mean, this was something that he's wanted long before he met her.
What do you think,
already
John? Are you there, Juicy? What do you think?
I think you look a lot like like Caitlyn Jenner, actually.
I wish.
Oh man,
I would attract the men.
Jenner's fucking smoking. Bunto is handsome. There's a difference.
Well, the thing is that Caitlyn Jenner now is going to be, the attractiveness. She's now on the female attractiveness spectrum, and I've always looked at that as like, wow, shit, man, that is, to be a woman for a day, you walk outside naked, just, to lose your mind drunk with power. But no, I mean, honestly, Juicy, that's just light years away from, I think, anything I'll ever approach. That sort of attractiveness.
Yeah, when I was growing up, my friend Mitch said to me, Lindsay, why don't you become a man? You're already
Yes.
halfway there because
That's
you're gay. Why don't you just become a man because so you become more accepted in society?
right.
And I'm like, just because I'm gay doesn't mean I'm transsexual.
Right.
And
It's
did you know a bathtub guy, Juicy Down Corner, whatever the fuck name you go by now, that oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, not all homosexual men are cross-dressers. Actually, a lot of cross-dressers are straight men.
yes.
Yeah, that's
Call
true.
part-timers. They said that there's like some. They just try to put up the war between cross-dressers and trans, but I don't think such things exist. I mean, they got better things to do. They're misunderstood as trans, so we welcome them in the LGBT any day of the week. It's just that these are like males that have a better identity as females.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I'm not quite sure what the motivation is, unless it's hate. Because ultimately, I don't walk into a place and say, "Hey, I was born a woman and I like to sleep with men." Why should anybody else have to put their stuff out there? I mean, why should other people be judged on that?
Well, I'll say this, Sugar. On the general, I would say I could characterize this as bigotry, but inside LGBT, there are these little squabbles, interfaith squabbles.
Like you're right. You're right.
Discussions. Like they call cross-dressers part-timers.
Mm.
They say, "Oh, you're a part-timer. You're a hobbyist."
Human nature, yeah.
And then, sometimes they'll call trans female enthusiasts. I don't necessarily think that that's a pejorative. It's just, like if you look at it, sometimes I'll say it. And maybe that's about I want to. I'm not bigotry against trans, but sometimes I'll say it.
Hmm. For me, it turns out to be a character issue for me more than anything. It doesn't matter what it is, right?
As far as the craze of trans, sweeping over the country because of what Caitlyn Jenner is doing, I just don't see it. I think it's pretty much petered out by now. It's been 2 weeks.
You know what I just realized, because I went to searching on it on Google, is of course I went to put in her old name, and they've already changed her picture, in Google.
Respectfully.
And, yeah, absolutely. I have no issue with it, but even somebody that's accepting, as I am, didn't even think about that. Oh, that's right. Now her in the media. I mean, boy, she has to live with that image that she wasn't friendly with forever. So most people can throw their stuff away, and really walk away from it, and she'll never be able to.
Right. That's a very good thing that crossed my mind at the same time. To broach the subject of, okay, sometimes trans doesn't work out, and sometimes people quit in the middle of their trans. So it's sort of like, in a way, if this gets pulled off, and I'm sure it will, she's going to be a little bit like the Jackie Robinson, on a major scale. Even though we did have Renee Richards, right? Remember that in tennis? Renee Richards.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think, this is much bigger media exposure.
Was it you that we talked about Camille Paglia and what she had said about...
Okay, well, just for the honest, what did she say again?
Well, as far as feminism, Camille Paglia was one of the big heavy hitters with Gloria Steinem, and a couple of those women have come back to say, hey, we got a couple things wrong. And in a recent interview that I had seen with her, she had mentioned that she was the only out lesbian that she knew in 1965, and she was going to college, and she was very outspoken and very outgoing, and she said it was in response to younger people being transgender, and I happen to have a niece that is transgender, that was, she discovered it very young, and she said, and Camille Paglia is a lesbian as well, she says, I'm glad that I didn't know about this, because I was so precocious, and I was such an activist, that I would be afraid that maybe I would have gone down that road, and it wouldn't have been for me. So that of course, is a really dangerous comment,
Right.
And that those who oppose this lifestyle will hold on to that and say, look, even their own kind thinks it's wrong. But what she goes on to say is, we must make sure that these people are given all the support, and that they are able to explore all this without that bias, without the family members, or anybody saying that they are evil or sick or whatever. And then if it emerges, it emerges, the way it's supposed to.
Okay, just to tell our listeners, I do have an interview with Jennifer Borden about, trans. They can go to my YouTube channel, look it up. But I just want to say that, just talking about the mechanics of the situation of trans, usually trans, they figured out like at age 5, really early, that there's something different about them.
Yeah.
As in they completely empathize with the opposite gender.
Mm. Yeah.
I think it's way too early to say that at age 5 I can determine where I'm inclined sexually. And
yeah, you can say that.
No, they don't. But wait. They don't declare their sexuality at that. It's their gender. They don't even know about sex, and nor should you ever discuss sex with that age of a child. Sabrina was 3 years old, and it was obsessive. I'm a girl. I'm a girl. I'm a girl.
Yeah, it's Sabrina's the trans niece. Okay.
Yeah.
What I just want to say, Juicy, is that there has to be a starting place for everything, and like trans, in my mind, starts young. In their mind.
If you are among the intersex that have both chromosomes, both male and female, you're really going to see that, and that's why they no longer do the gender reassignment at birth when there's the ambiguous genitalia.
They also have hurdles that you have to get to pass psychological evaluations, just to start hormones.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is, like, this idea of, like, you're 25 years old and you go to sleep and you wake up, go to sleep a man, you wake up, well, I want to be a woman and trans that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't see that.
It doesn't happen.
It's like an outlier, right?
I
look good as a woman, so I'm going to be a woman, That's or my neighbor's going to pay me $1 million to be a woman, I'll do it. I don't see that.
You have to live for an entire year as a woman before they will complete the surgery. I mean, that's at least how it's always been. I don't know if they've changed those details at all, but it used to be back in the day that you had to, prove it.
I sent out some messages to my trans women friends, but we'll see if any of them come in. And another thing that I always wanted to address in a hangout is that I always encourage any transgender just to come out, and try to socialize as much as possible. Don't be cooped up in a room or just, feel like you don't have any friends.
I'll talk to you anytime.
Yeah. Right, we'll talk to you anytime. Please, go forward, mingle. Don't feel powerless or abandoned, isolated.
That's good.
Because isolation is probably the worst thing for your mental health.
Truly.
In my opinion. Like, I suffer from a lot of mental health issues, and when I isolate myself, and I do, I just feel miserable. So, for someone that is going through transition or has just recently gone through operations and stuff like that, maybe you're feeling sick or you're in pain because it's, back in the day it was very painful. Now I don't know if it's still painful with the drugs that they prescribe you now. But I imagine it's still not the greatest feeling, surgery. So.
Or just starting hormones.
Hormones suck because, well, I know lots of people that are starting T right now. They're starting to. T is testosterone.
Right.
Like my friend, her name was Ali before she came out as transgender. Now it's Andrew. He goes by Andy, and he just started testosterone 3 weeks ago, and he is very excited. And I've been talking to him about the first things, and it's really interesting. I find it interesting. He's very young.
Okay. Well, gosh, man, we need some trans in here. I don't know where they are.
I had a partner when I worked in the ambulance service who was a female to male, and he would come in and read his Bible. It's funny that somebody had mentioned a religion and homosexuality.
Oh my God.
And he went by the name Heather at the time, and now Joshua. And I said, how is it that you could, every day in the Bible, reading the Word, really, really, you could tell, really dedicated. And I said, how is it that you can read that Bible and know that those people hate you?
Right.
He looked at me. He looked at me. I'm sorry. He looked at me with those eyes and said, "Oh, that's not my God. My God, my God loves everybody. I'm going to let Him figure that out." And it was just, that was it. That was all she cared about. And I was like, okay, because at the time I couldn't even fathom why she would want that. It's like living in hate.
Some people need God. Some people need that sort of spirituality. But I feel you get a good support group, welcome reality. That's what I suggest.
I see. I'm so happy.
Well, okay, let me see. Okay, we talked about trans. We talked about the Q. Talked about L. We talked about G. I mean, I guess we could talk up G.
What about bisexuals?
Bisexuals,
they're very interesting, especially in society. Nowadays, people are coming out and saying that, bisexual are just greedy.
They're just greedy?
Greedy.
Yes.
That's what I heard a lot when I was not identifying as queer or pansexual. I was identifying as bisexual. And I got from either men or women saying to me, well, you're just greedy because you want both genders.
Gosh, how would they feel about pansexuals?
Right. Okay. Well, just talking about bi. Let's see if we can. Okay. Do you guys think that bi means 50-50 or just means attractiveness towards either?
Attractiveness to either? It's not 50-50.
Right. I mean, that's the first thing. I guess I do sort of troll people when they say they're bi. And they do. Some people do get upset, but I'm just joking.
You do.
They can't
You do troll.
But I think to me, it's like that first thing. Oh, so you're 50-50. You could come either way. It could come male or female. And they say, oh no, it's 80-20 or some number.
Why is it that you don't buy it? Bunto, why don't you buy it?
Because it's sort of like if I was to call myself bi, it would be like a bisexuality that it wouldn't be useful to me. It doesn't last for more than 2 weeks.
Well,
I am attracted to females, but
you're really weird, Bunto.
I think no, really.
Because you're homosexual, but you have girlfriends because you like girls, but you're like romantically involved in girls.
I do not think that is weird at all. It's just I think it has to do also with conditioning, and also it's just I realize that I am attracted to females. Either way, it could even be biology, genetics. The thing is that it's bisexuality because there's not much use to it if it wears off in 2 weeks, right?
Well, now, if somebody has just they've met, there's been plenty of men in lots of women's lives that they've only seen for 2 weeks, right? I mean, then they stayed with them for years.
The mayfly,
right? So,
right.
Right. So then, if it stands to reason that if you've only had 2 or 3 sexual experiences with the same sex, and they weren't the right person for you, and that the longest it had been was 2 weeks, you can't just say that you're only a 2 week, because if next week you met the person of your dreams and it happened to be same sex, then it could potentially last forever, right?
Well, the thing's like this. There are porn stars, right? I mean, they ostensibly are gay for pay, have all sorts of, but when they go home, they're straight. See what I mean? It's sort of like it's like calling yourself bisexuality, but if it's only for pay or if it's going to last for 2 weeks, it doesn't have much utility in the form of like a long-term relationship. That's my hang-up with bisexuality. My sexuality means it comes either way.
Right. Do you think that further proves the theory that other people think that it's a choice, and it lessens the fact that it is not a choice?
The only choice that I have is to deny my sexuality.
Agreed.
When they bring up choice. But it's sort of like this. It's like, let's suppose that they showed me nothing but naked guys, my childhood, right? And I was still attracted to females. I still would not call myself bisexual. I'd still, just there's no use in it if it wears off into 2 weeks. I think it's a lot of it's conditioning.
When you say wear it off, you think
wears off.
Wear off. Yeah. You're gonna make me.
Yeah,
You're
it's
gonna
like
make me
2
do this,
weeks.
aren't
I'm
you?
looking for the door. I practice, if not sooner. I just
You're
get
gonna make me do
cooties.
this. Bunto.
It's just a fact that happens. So anyway, when they bring up bisexuality, that's what I always like. I have vectors of questioning the validity in it, but I do respect it. It's a part of LGBT.
I think that if for some people, Kinsey did a scale. I don't know if you're all are familiar with the Kinsey scale, and on the scale, that goes from strictly male and male, so strict homosexuality on the one side, and then on the other side would be very, very lesbian, right? And then everything in between, and variations of every in between. And Kinsey believed that there were degrees that people were prone to, and that gets a lot of controversy. And one can only speak from one's personal perception, but then one takes the risk of casting a large net. So I'll let other people decide what works for them.
Truly. He's a renowned doctor, a doctor of renown, so yeah, his stuff has validity.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's bi, my stance on bi. Would it be, have they ever denied anybody a marriage because they're bisexual? No. So, as far as the political stance of bi, I don't think it's as much as the L and the G, or the T.
Well, I find people who are bisexual to be more open to an open relationship or polygamy.
Polyamory.
Yeah, polyamory. I like polyamory actually.
I also had to hang out on my channel about polylove versus monolove. Yeah, I mean, LGBT is liberal at heart, and you're just open-minded, accepting. I mean, the only thing is intersex, and that's just a medical condition in my mind, but we're inclusive of them too. I don't know does anybody remain intersex? Maybe they do.
Yeah, I think for some they may struggle, and I don't think many others. You know what? I will Google it. I couldn't say for sure. My gut would say that they wouldn't want to, but that's just my gut. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll look it up for you.
Well, thank you, Sugar.
Sorry.
I was thinking, well, I mean, we've covered all the bases. I don't know what else you need to talk about, Lindsay.
Oh,
yeah, we take questions from the audience or listeners.
Oh, yes. Is there anyone that wants to type a comment down in the box? And we can take questions, or you're welcome to join. There's a few more spots.
Why is June Gay Month? I have no idea.
Because it's summertime, and that's when you can go down the street on a float dressed in practically nothing in almost any city in the country. Right. You didn't talk about hermaphrodites, which I guess are considered intersex now. Yeah, well, they don't use the term hermaphrodite anymore, and they do use intersex, and there are degrees of it.
Yeah, because there are some people that have that can use both of their sexual organs, like get pleasure from penetration in the vagina and pleasure when they're penetrating someone with the penis, like both of the sexual organs are working, or some people have an unworking sexual organ and the other one's working and stuff like that too.
Yeah. Interesting. So I'm seeing a lot of articles about it, and of course the ones that talk about when they're young. But I assume that it's probably pretty general across the board. Some people may choose to, and others may. I bet there's a lot of people that they know and they just don't go to the doctor. They don't let anybody know. It's probably silent shame, And I would venture to say that eventually that won't happen anymore because, now that they're not, they used to just fix them right away as they were infants. And boy, they were often wrong.
Right.
There's that one girl that's on the documentary about it, and she is bitter. She's unhappy with her parents. Like, why did you let them do this to me? Parents are just like simple folk. They didn't know. They knew less about homosexuality and intersex than they did about medicine, you know?
Really?
Yes, Bunto, really.
Well, I wish everybody happy the rest of the month of June. Anytime you want to reach out and talk to Lindsay or talk to me, you're
Yes,
here at any time.
and Sugar put her thing out there that she could be talked to as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I can send them your way. I mean, if they feel more comfortable coming to me, and I'll pass them on, because I'm not the expert. I'll send them to y'all.
Well, you're definitely open-minded, and that's good.
No, we enjoy
Very
it.
accepting. It's nice to finally have met you, because I heard so much about you. All good things.
Oh,
So,
it's very sweet. You
you're
know,
not
I
just Google Plus, don't worry.
I don't know personally. I don't know how anybody else could think any other way, and I gotta just keep the love going. We gotta make sure everybody's covered.
Excellent.
Yes. I guess I'll put an end to this hangout. Thank you for listening and watching and coming in and voicing your
Solidarity.
opinions. It's great meeting you all, and I hope to have another LGBT plus hangout in a couple weeks or so, because we'll have to. In August, actually, Red Deer is having their first Pride Week. We mostly just had weekends the past 2 years. This is our 4th annual Pride that we're having in our city. We don't have a parade,
That's still
but we
good.
have the Legion is having a drag queen race.
I love it.
So it's going to be interesting.
Oh man.
And what city is this?
Red Deer, Alberta, Canada.
Oh my goodness.
We only have
Awesome.
100,000 people. We're very rural.
Very progressive.
I live in a rural area as well, in California, and the city that's biggest next to me has got 180,000, and I moved to a town that had 5,000.
Oh my!
And they've got 15,000 now, and in California that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm glad to have met you all, and I'm glad that we had a very open hangout and no haters came in.
Good job.
Thank you.
So
Thank you guys for inviting me.
Everyone.
Thank you, Linda.
And logging off.